Game 4 of the NBA Finals is tonight, and so once again, Greg Ehrenberg here with another Awesemo PrizePicks video. Last game, we saw the Bucks pick up their first win of the series to make it 2-1. They're going to have a chance to even the series tonight if you guys want to go play on PrizePicks. And you're new to the site, head on over to PrizePicks.com. Use the promo code Awesemo on your first deposit. Get up to $100 bonus on that first deposit. The first player that I'm looking at tonight is Giannis Antetokounmpo for under 61.5 PrizePick points. This is a number that I think a lot of people are not going to feel comfortable going with the under on, given how well Giannis has played in this series. But I think there is reason to think there's a little bit of regression coming his way. He did score 67.6 fantasy points last game. The game before, he scored 71.4. And I know now a lot of people are just looking at his point totals, 41 and 42, and expecting that this is just a guy who's going to score 40-plus points every night. But I really don't think that's the case. Before these last two games, he'd only scored more than 34 points once in the entire postseason. That was a game against the Nets that ended up going into overtime. He played 50 minutes. So when, we have to look at all of that, and I think that it's more likely than not that Giannis starts to regress a little bit. And then it's also not a massive concern, but a little concerning to me that he did have to come out of the game just a few minutes into game 3. So ultimately, Giannis did have to take a quick rest. So while some of the other starters in the game are probably going to be playing, 44, 45 minutes, Giannis is probably capped a little closer to the 40 range just because he might ask to come out early in the first quarter again. Next player I'm looking at is Jrue Holiday for under 42 PrizePick points. Jrue Holiday, also somebody who's played fairly well in this series. You look at his fantasy point totals from last two games, 43.5 fantasy points, 44.5. But there's still the issue that he's going up against Chris Paul for a lot of the game. Chris Paul is one of the best point guard defenders in the history of the league. And also something else that benefited Jrue Holiday a little bit towards the end of last game, he would have hit the under on his mark. However, even though the game was a blowout, the Suns ended up losing to the Bucks by 20 points in game 3. We still saw Jrue Holiday play a little bit in garbage time, so he ended up getting over 40 minutes. And the final stretch of the game, he got to play without Chris Paul defending him. So if that stretch had not happened, we would have seen Jrue Holiday go under this mark in 2 of the first 3 games of the series. And the other thing to consider also, Chris Middleton has not taken up very much usage so far in the series. He's been sub 20% usage in each of the last 2 games. I expect him to take a little bit more shots today, and that's going to hurt the scoring output for both Jrue Holiday and Giannis Antetokounmpo. The final player that I'm looking at on PrizePicks tonight is Bobby Portis for over 14.5 fantasy points. Now, Bobby Portis, his minutes have been all over the place so far in the playoffs, but it was definitely an encouraging sign that last game, game 3 of the finals, really a must-win type situation for the Bucks down 2-0 in the series. Bobby Portis ended up playing 18 minutes, the most he's played in the entire series. They gave some of Brook Lopez's minutes to Portis. And I think that just given that we saw them really lean on Bobby Portis in that game 3, we should see his minutes be pretty stable going forward. Overall for the year, Bobby Portis averaged over a fantasy point per minute in the regular season, 20 minutes per game, 23 PrizePick points. I don't think he gets to over 20 minutes, but even if he gets the 18 minutes he played last game, that would put him right around 20 fantasy points. So as long as the minutes remain stable, the total here looks a little bit too low on Portis. So just to recap, the 3 players that I am looking at tonight on PrizePicks, it is Giannis Antetokounmpo to go under 61.5 fantasy points. It is Jrue Holiday to go under 42 fantasy points. And then Bobby Portis to go over 14.5. Those are 3 of my favorite plays tonight on PrizePicks.com. If you guys want to play on some of those lines, head on over to PrizePicks.com. And if you're new to the site, use the promo code Awesemo on your first deposit. Get up to a $100 bonus.